Today we're gonna have a look at my recently purchased GMWB5000 GD-1 full metal square blacked out G-Shock solar power Bluetooth equipped model, which I'm sure you guys already knows by now. So in this video I'm not gonna focus on the functions as much. Instead I'll talk about the constructions and some of my user experience owning the watch just for about 1 week. So I'll talk about 10 good things about the watch, 5 bad things about this model, and 5 better things in comparison to the other version. So I'll be really highlighting this all black version in comparison to other square GWB56 or GMWB5000 G-Shock in particular. Starting off with the display, it has STN display, which means it has better contrast, better viewing angle, so that will definitely affect your user experience. I mean, this is the thing that you will be saying every single time, so that display is better. Number 2 is quality. It has premium quality. The material used in here is much better. Can also even show the forging process that this watch need to undergo in order to look the way it is. I mean, the bezels need to mix separately, the hard case need to be made separately, and they both need to fit perfectly at the same time as well. And not to mention, this watch is made in Japan, in their assembly factory in Yamagata, if I'm not mistaken, where they made all of their premium watches. So this made in Japan thing really will affect your perspective alongside all of your friends when you tell them about a watch as well, in comparison to this, which is made in China. So there's that. Next is the buttons. It has bigger buttons, which also definitely will affect your user experience. Not to mention that the way that the bezel was made didn't cover the buttons entirely, so you could easily push the button while on wrist, where on this one is a lot harder. I mean, you guys already knows by now, right? This is the old button constructions. And not to mention, the button construction on this full metal version is times better. It has a cylinder around it as well, similar to those on the Rangeman, except it is smaller in size, which I'll talk about later in this different video. Next up, the design of this link, which featuring a similar concept as the original GW5000 G-Shock in 1983. So this is like the metal version of that resin bands, which is nice things to have as well. Not to mention that it also will give you a much more refined adjustment, because all of the links is sitting so close to one another, so you only need to remove one to have the size adjustment that you want. Whereas on this GWB5600 version, for example, if I were to adjust the size, I'm gonna need to remove this huge chunk of links over here, so that could significantly affect the size, and that won't be good, right? But this is only applicable for the bracelet version. Next up is the finishing. So when I first got it, I thought it's gonna be big, gonna be flashy, but it turns out it is the opposite. Granted, this is only applicable for this all black version only. I'm not sure about the titanium one though, but I'm sure those will be looking good as well. But for my full gloss finishing version, it looks actually smaller than this matte finish version I have, so that's also something that I noticed over the time of owning this, and you guys got to see it already, right? It looks different. I'll highlight to you guys on why afterwards, but now let's proceed to the body. It has a screw down case back, which is known to last longer than a normal back like this, which also some people tend to complain because it has all of the sharp edges. It tend to you know, leave a mark on your wrist and could be a little discomfort, where on this one it is smooth, and the comfort in this watch is extremely good in comparison to this actually. Okay, next up is again about the material. So the screw down case back has a diamond like carbon coating, and the bracelet has iron plated. Both of these combined will make the watch much more durable in comparison to this full silver version, obviously to a resin one, and also much more durable to the gold plated version. That is some theory that I have. And after wearing the watch for about a week, I also noticed I didn't have any more of those sweat irritations in comparison to when I'm wearing this resin version, for example, or this resin one, or this resin band G-Shock. Don't think I've mentioned this before. If I sweat, my skin tend to irritate, but when I wear this G-Shock watch at daytime, I could just, you know, loosen up, wipe the sweat, and I'm good to go again. But if I were to wear this watch while I was sleeping, that make it impossible, because I didn't know when the sweats happen, and by the time I woke up, started irritated, and that really discomfort. But with this, I didn't have that problem anymore, and I have a feeling if you're one of those people who have skin irritation issues with some reactions to certain type of metals, probably this watch is the way to go. Give it a shot, maybe that will help, because it has iron plated stainless steel which cover everything, so should be good. Actually, it works for me. I'm not sure about you guys though. But next up, still in the topic of the iron plated band, which is much more durable to scratch in comparison to non-iron plated steel. I bought this one in used conditions. We've already scratched at underneath this, because I mean it is metal, it will scratch for sure. But this one didn't have a lot of scratch yet. You could see all those minor little scratch, but over time I'm guessing it will look somewhat like this. This is my GWB110, which also have same iron plated bracelet, which already been up really bad. You could see all the scratch, but from a distance you're barely able to tell it, right? It still has the same hairline finishing. Even when I add a close-up shots, you will see all of those micro scratch, but from a distance the watch still looks good. That is something that I didn't realize before until I own this. I used to own a silver bracelet vintage G-Shock. Gosh, when I scratch that will be visible throughout the day. You will be able to see it. If you like it, that's okay. Some people didn't like scratches and that really bothers them, but with this all black version, it actually makes the watch looks better, and from a distance you won't even notice it. So that's also other good points about owning the black version of this full metal square G-Shock. So those, I believe, will summarize 10 good points about this watch in particular. Now, what is the bad thing about this watch? Obviously, because it has metal constructions, it is heavier in comparison to resin band, but that will totally depend on the person. If you are a muscular guy, you won't even notice this watch. All of these watches are practically just the same to you, but if you are a skinny guy, you will notice this. So there's that. Next is the cost. Obviously, it's gonna be more expensive. It is made in Japan, premium quality, hand assembled in Japan as well, and all of the solar panel, the battered LCD display, all of those things combined make the watch 3 times more expensive than the resin version. Of course, you guys already knows that. But what you guys probably didn't know is the cost if you were to buy one in used condition. Brand new, this thing will cost you 600 to 500 bucks, something like that, depending on where you live. But I was able to buy this at only 300 bucks in used conditions, with all the box and papers included, through buy.jp, which is also the sponsor for today's video. So if you are worried about cost, buy them used. These are built to last, so even in used condition they'll still serve you very well at a much cheaper price. Of course, they will scratch, there will be use marks, but like I said, those things combined really actually makes the watch looks better over time. So there's nothing to lose in terms of appearance, as much as if you were to buy a resin one. When they scratch them, you can't polish them at all anymore, and they will very visible. Next is the movement. You cannot update it. Even though it has Bluetooth, it is fixed the way it is, and if you don't like certain things in the watch functions, it is permanent. Next is the outdated display. Casio already released the new MIP display on their G Squad series G-Shock watch, right? So this will be outdated, I believe, this year or next year. So if you don't like this display, sure, wait, don't buy the watch at all. Just wait for a new updated display, the MIP version, which I'm sure will be a lot better. So this will be updated, so there's that. You need to consider that as well if you're thinking about wearing this for a long time, or if you don't like this, probably wait out a little bit. Next is mineral crystal. It didn't have a sapphire crystal, meaning you could scratch this, but Casio also released a titanium with sapphire crystal version. So if you have extra cash to spend, if you really want sapphire, you're gonna need to pay more. That's it. If you don't mind that, sure, you could even put a cheap screen protector over here, and that should get you covered already as well, right? Now, how is this better in comparison to the resin version and other version, which I already talked about a little bit before? But still, if you look at both of these just like that, okay, this one appears smaller. Let me tell you why. Because this one has silver buttons on the side. These buttons combined actually highlights the profile of the watch. From a distance you could see here, these 4 points, so you know how big the watch is. But on this you can't really tell because of the gloss finishing on the side. The button, even though it is big, it is not visible at all. So the watch looks smaller in comparison to this one. That's really cool. Next, not to mention the fact it has gloss finishing, brush finishing combined. It looks much more premium when lights reflects on it. Next is that the fact it is appear shorter in comparison to this. So I made a video to complain in the review video for this one. I did complain that the watch looks longer from this point to this point on your wrist, and I noticed that's because of the finishing. This one has same finishing for the first link and the bezel, meaning they blend in very well, making them look like a long singular piece. Whereas on this full metal version, actually it has gloss finish bezel but brush finish bracelet down here, so your eyes tend to cut this portion out and focus on these gloss portions only when you wear this, meaning you won't notice that the watch is long at all, even though they're just the same thing. So that technically make the watch smaller than this, again, even though they're just the same profile. And again, like I already said, because it is metal, it is in black colorway, it look better over time after beating. I guess Casio already released the GMWB5000V, the H version of the square G-Shock, which looks really nice as well. So probably you could do the same thing with this over time. And last but not least, how is this better? It's the ion plated. This will be applicable to every full metal G-Shock actually, in comparison to the Resin one, because it has this ion plated. It actually provide a little bit more comfort, like I already said before. It didn't give me any skin irritation whatsoever. So sure, this watch is better. Mine is in all black. I'm good with this. Casio releasing more variants in the future, but I'm gonna settle down with this all black version only, and I think this will serve me well in the long run. Okay, that will summarize all of the good, the bad, and the better for this GMWB5000. Altogether 20 different things already. So if you miss out all the points, I try to list them down in the description box just for you to read it out. And that's it. Don't forget to check the link down in the description box again to earn your 1000 yen discount on your first order through buy.jp, which is also the sponsor for today's video. If you're on the fence whether you should get this or this, I would recommend you to save up, be patient, just pay a little bit more and get this one instead of this. Unless you really don't mind about all the little things that I already mentioned, then just get this. At the end of the day, it's your money, it's your way to spend them, so do whatever you want.